Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Liquid here, and I just want to give a weekly update on the Canadian economy and how that might affect the financial markets going forward. We finally got the Q1 GDP number for this year. The economy was up 0.1% in March, followed by a 0.2 decline in February, and that means that overall GDP grew by 2.2% in Q1 of 2025, higher than expectations of 1.5% thanks to the strong numbers in March. However, the demand was largely flat during this time, meaning businesses just wanted to front load a lot of investments before the tariffs come on. So for Canadian businesses, if they're buying supplies or machines from the US, you want to buy as much as you can before the prices go up after April. So GDP for the next quarter is likely to be lower, and that's why economists are still calling the Canadian economy frail. I mentioned this last week when we were looking at the TSX and mentioned although the momentum is going up and we're likely to see higher prices, it probably won't be as strong as the US stock market. So looking at the weekly chart on the Toronto Stock Exchange, it looks like we're up about 1% over the last week. But if we look at the S&P 500, that same week, we're up almost 2%. Now in both cases, short term, it looks like both markets are still going to trend higher. Looking at the S&P 500 daily chart, we have the price action above all of the EMAs, shorter and longer term, plus large volume on Friday last week, pushing the Friday candle back above the 9 EMA, ending the day higher than where it started. So the bulls are looking to break this resistance line here, and if it goes above that, wait for a retest and it will likely go higher. The bears have an uphill battle because they basically have to wait for the price to break below this support line, which is possible, but it's less likely due to the technicals still giving the S&P 500 a buy signal right now. For the TSX on the daily chart, it's a similar story. Everything is above the green line, and as you can see from history over the last few months, you do not want to short the market as long as the 9 EMA is below the price of the stock market. Now Friday was close, it dropped down, but as you can see it finished just like the S&P 500 back up above the green line. So it's technically been a long time that the market has been bullish. Now even if it breaks below the green line this upcoming week, there is still the blue line that it will likely try to hit afterwards. And if it doesn't go right through and either stalls around the blue line, the 21 EMA, or bounces off of it, then there is a high probability for markets to continue moving higher, continuing the trend that it's been in for a long time. Another market to keep an eye on is the bond market. So for example, we'll look at TLT, and it's been in this downward channel for a while, but it's at this critical point now at the 21 EMA, and it's not likely to just go flat, to just remain at this level next week. This is the daily chart, so for the next 5 days, this upcoming week, it'll likely come up to retest the 50 EMA, this red line, or it's going to bounce off the blue 21 and go down. And if it drops like that, then I would expect yields to go higher and this to go all the way down to the low 80s again, just like it did a week before. And the scary thing is, if TLT drops a lot, then that is not necessarily a good thing for the stock market, because a troubled bond market means there's something wrong with the economy, and that kind of fear can send the stock market down as well. So if you have a balanced portfolio of stocks and bonds, it's likely you'll see both of those asset classes drop at the same time. So in that case, short-term bonds might be a better place to put your money until things stabilize. But other than that, not too much to report on. Again, just like last week, I believe the Canadian stock market will have a correction first before the US stock market. And the thing to trigger that is probably going to be the housing market, which I'll talk about in another video. So that's it for now. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time.